afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Straight Talk on 106.9 CIXX. I'm your host, Bill Paul, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about music. Your music. How to record it, how to sell it, how to get the bucks for it, and how to wade through the technology and bureaucracy that's out there in the recording industry these days. And we have an expert on the subject, John Seda, who's talking to us all the way long distance from Tampa, Florida. I bet the weather is warmer there right now than it is here. And John, you're talking with Bill Paul on Straight Talk in chilly London, Ontario, Canada. How are you doing?
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Are you managing through the cold?
Yeah, we just had a little bit of powdered snow here, and now we're back to a nice sunny day, but it's still a wind chill. I'd rather be in Tampa right now, I think.
I can imagine. Actually, it was pretty... you probably laugh when we say cold, but cold for us is about 50, 50, 60. But it gets in your bones, so, you know, when you're used to the warm weather, it tends to feel worse than it really is.
And I've got to let our listeners know that John is talking about Fahrenheit, something we don't know about in Canada anymore. We're mostly Celsius. So 50 to 60 degrees here would be pretty hot, John.
Okay.
In Celsius, anyway.
Right.
All right. So, John, tell us a little bit about your life in the music industry, how you got involved with it.
Well, I've been in the industry for over 30 years. I own a recording studio in Tampa, Florida called Rising Sun Music. A couple of years ago, we started a venture called BornAMusician.com, and what we are there is we are worldwide distributors. We have 150 digital stores worldwide, including iTunes and Amazon and YouTube. We have the lowest prices in the industry, which is $4.99 for a single for the first year and $9.99 after that. We do not take any royalties from the artist or take a percentage of the sales. Everything goes to the artist. And our mission in music is to enhance a musical economy.
And what provided the need for your service?
Well, you know, for years, I record and we work with a lot of young artists, and music has changed a lot in the last 10 years, and there was a lot of this free music going on, and a lot of artists were complaining, coming to the studio, a lot of young artists asking me for advice what to do, and they were very confused about it because a lot of the venues they're performing at either charge them to play or barely pay them anything. And they're under the impression that if they give away their music for free, that this is going to help their careers, and they started to realize that none of that was right. So basically, out of somewhat of a frustration from looking at what's happening to a lot of the artists, I decided to take on this goal to help artists to make money in music. And a lot of it has to do with the way things are being promoted and the way they're dangling, I guess, the carrot of fame. You know, a lot of these contests go on. So I'm putting my part and my 2 cents in to help artists to make something out of music versus giving it away for free.
So basically you're saying my 8-track system's out of date.
Pretty much. I still have some 8-tracks, by the way.
Oh, very good. And I might as well get rid of my 78s, too.
Yeah. Well, actually, vinyl's coming back.
Oh, good. I'll be trendy again.
Well, you know, it's a new platform right now. And it's very difficult because it's so easy to manipulate and send to people. So it makes it very difficult for artists. But I would like to share one thing is I'm a big fan of file sharing. And file sharing is basically the trend of, you know, today's music, which means you can send files to friends in different parts, and they can record parts and send it back to you, or you can post music on streaming sites, and basically people will listen to your music. But what I advise young artists is that when they use these streaming services, just put 1 minute of the song or 30 seconds of the song. Don't put the whole song up because it's not going to give any incentive for the buyer to want to purchase anything. If they can find it there for free, why would they buy it? There's this tendency now, a lot of pro guys in amateurs are saying that music is not selling, and that's not true, because we've got iTunes, and it's living proof that music does sell. And there's other websites like Spotify, eMusic, YouTube is doing that also. One thing very interesting, I'd like to talk to people about what we offer. We offer YouTube distribution, but we offer it on the same playing field as the major labels do. If you sign up through our service at bornamusician.com and the song is up online ready to sell, when you go to upload a video, whether it's a slideshow or music video, or if somebody, without your permission, uploads music, the music is instantly watermarked from the moment that you upload it through our site and put it out for sale, which means is that every single time somebody views your music on YouTube through our service, they get paid. And they get paid the same rates as the major labels do, which is 60% more than going directly with YouTube to monetize your account. And it's 40% more in Europe. So we're working diligently on different ways to help artists to sell music, and I think that it's finally coming into play where it's turning around to positive and greener pastures. And that's what we're all about.
All right. Now, I don't know much about technology at all.
Okay.
I sit behind a microphone. But what's to stop somebody after they purchased the song from your company on behalf of the musician? What's to stop them from sharing it with people for free?
Nothing can stop them from doing it, unfortunately. I wish they would create some type of a platform that would have some kind of a copyright protection, but there isn't. I don't really think that most people kind of just purchasing just to give it away. I think that's always has happened before in the past. We were joking about 8-tracks. I mean, there were 8-track recorders back then. I wasn't a very big fan of them because you would record a song and then halfway through it would cut out and then cut a piece out and go to the next track. So and there was cassettes, reel to reel. So it's it's not something that's new to the game. It's just a different way of doing it. It's a lot easier, probably more transparent than before. But I still think that if that were the case, record sales wouldn't be doing well with websites like iTunes or Rhapsody or other sites that are very similar to that. I mean, you go into I don't know how it is in Canada, but I'm assuming it's the same thing. You go into, like in Florida, they have public supermarkets, right? And you walk in and they have iTunes cards. And so they're selling them, obviously. People buy them. So it's not like and you go to Walmart, it's the same thing. So I don't think it's a question of people just giving it away. I think that might happen probably with one friend. But the idea too is the artist also has to express their feelings on how, and this is really important because I think what it is that a lot of artists feel today, and this is I've heard this a lot, and there's been discussions that I've had with artists. We sit down, young artists, and they tell me what their feelings are, and a lot of them will say that they want to give away music for free because that helps them to get shows. But from my perspective, the first thing that comes to my mind and the first thing I tell them is, whoa, okay, so just right now you just gave 50% of your value away. You gave your intellectual property away, which actually can make you more money than live performances if you're wise and know how to do good business. So now you're dependent of the live venue. Well, every musician that I've known, or every musician that's out there today, they can't deny the fact that a lot of these venues don't pay well anyway. And some of them want you to pay to perform, and some of them will do it for free. So if you gave away your music for free, which is your intellectual property, which is what your gift, into music, to be able to share with people and make at least something from it, and now you're only dependent of your live shows, and live shows are not doing well. Well, I think that's not the right way to think. And
I wanted to ask you about the big names in music, especially the ones who've been around for 50, 60 years and are still coming out in their walkers and doing concerts. That a lot of them seem to need to keep touring to make the big bucks they want for their retirements, because they aren't making the money off CD sales and whatnot that they used to.
well, a lot of them are not making that much money on shows either. Their venues are more expensive now. Sound companies are charging more money. Light companies are charging more money. So less goes back to the artist, which is kind of ironically funny, because it seems to me that if the artist is the golden egg, they should be the one making the most profit. And a lot of artists actually come, one thing that's becoming a thing of the past is people touring from one country to the other, because it's very costly. And so a lot of the big artists, and the ones that I have an incredible respect for because they've spoken forward about the same issue that I'm talking about, is like Elton John and Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney actually went to President Obama and asked him to do something about what's happening in music. And so did Elton John. So I think that it's affecting them also, because it's a trickling down effect. If everybody seems to give away music for free, and then the venues start thinking that they shouldn't have to pay because music is free now, then it has an effect, secondary effect on artists, on musicians. I think that one cool thing you can say about the big artists is that, and this is a double-edged sword, right, is that one of the reasons why they're performing is because they are great performers. They're very well, oiled machines, and they know what they're doing, and they know how to make a public feel good. A lot of young artists don't have that experience, and they don't know what it's like to put on a show. And I'm not saying this to everybody. I'm saying there are certain artists out there that are image makers, right? And everything is based on a video or based on an image, but when they get on stage, they don't have that experience. So that's, in a way, I have to say something positive about it, that the reason why a lot of these more mature artists are still out there is because the jobs are there for them to take, because nobody in the young area can fill in some of those gaps, because they don't have that type of following. They don't have that type of experience performing live. And that there's something to be said about that. And one of the things that I try to express to young artists is that it's great to have all these tools that make things easier in music, like photography and audio tools, that in the past it was impossible to obtain unless you spent a lot of money, right? So that's great to have that, but it doesn't take away the fact that you really have to focus on the most important thing, and that is your craft. You have to be good at what you do. You have to be a great artist, and a lot of people don't use this word anymore, but you have to be an entertainer. So I think that the whole thing of it's great to post things everywhere. It's a great form of media, but it's not the ultimate solution. Because at the end of the day, you still have to perform. And if you're not good at it, then you're not gonna do well.
Now let's talk about the ease of the new media, the social media we have of getting stuff out there. In the old days, when people made albums, they'd maybe have dozens and dozens of songs, and they'd have to pick their best 10 or something like that,
right,
12 to put on an album.
Right.
So you get to hear the best material. Nowadays, with you can record and just send it out on the net. We get to hear everything you've ever thought of.
Right.
Is that necessarily a good thing?
I don't think so. I think that, I'll give you a perfect example of this topic you're talking about. Let's say you have a song that's called I Will, or whatever, or I Love You Baby, or whatever the title is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just said, okay, I'm going to do the rock version, I'm going to do the R&B version, I'm going to do the hip-hop version, I'm going to do the reggae version, I'm going to do whatever, the DJ version, and now you have one song that has 10 different versions. I think that's incredibly confusing for people. I think that, you know, it's a perfect example. You can go into a club and walk in and you know, AC/DC's had these great songs, or even one that I know that everybody knows, which is Wild Cherry, Play That Funky Music, White Boy, right? When you walk into the club, everybody gets on the dance floor. They know the song. They didn't have to have 20 versions of the song, and that still happens to this day. So I think it's about writing a great song and just keeping to it, not wanting to probably please everybody in the world with your 10 different versions. And I think that's what's confusing right now, music, and I think it's really confusing. Think about it from the standpoint of the listener. They just want to hear one good song. I don't think they want to hear 10 different songs of the same song. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So it's like, you know, I think that too much is not good. It's like that old saying, you know, keep it stupid simple. The KISS saying, you know, the simpler it is, the better it is, the cleaner it is, you know. So in other words, don't make it too overproduced or too complicated, because then people, you know, lose grasp of it. So no, I don't agree with that. I don't think that. I think also too, it's. I should keep it simple myself. It's about writing a great song.
Now, I wanted to go actually to KISS when you mentioned the KISS method. I'm talking about the KISS band. It brings to mind, is it possible these days that bands make more money off their T-shirts and lunchboxes and action figures than they do off their actual music?
Well, that seems to be the case right now. I mean, some of the I heard of this band. This kind of, I actually think it's great. I think it's cool what he's doing. What he goes out and makes a barbecue and cooks for the people after his show. I heard it's supposed to be really good. So I think that all that creative stuff is good as far as creating finances. But I don't see why everybody has to lately sacrifice their music when it's the music that people want to see or listen to, I should say. Marketing is always good. It always makes you that extra money. It's called exploitation of your product. But none of that exploitation is going to come together if you don't have the song, and if the song doesn't sell well or is being listened to. And that's where I feel about that. I think it's positive for them to sell product.
Well, let's talk about your concept of recording it and selling it. How much of the process do you handle for the musician? Is it from birth to finish? No. They can record it in another studio somewhere. They can, I have customers that are coming from Europe, from different parts of the world, United States, and they record it in their studio. They mix it, they master it. If they need mastering services, we do offer mastering service. We also offer CD artwork and MP3 artwork. So if they need artwork to put their music, we can take care of that for them also. But really, it's like they're setting themselves up as an independent business person. So they're their own label. They're their own, they're their own boss. So basically all they have to do is have their WAV file and their artwork and upload it, put the name of the song. It's a 3-step process, very simple. One thing is cool about our system that is different than any other system in the world is that we have a royalty system implemented in our wizard, our sign-up wizard. A lot of people are not aware of this either, that iTunes, when they take a 30% commission from their sales, if a product costs $1, they take 30 cents. 12 cents of that has to go to the writers for mechanical rights. No other system out there has that system built in. So we are the first ones, and the ones that are well, there are people that do charge money, services additional, to be able to handle that, but they take a commission plus they take a part of the sales. We don't do that.
It's all in our system, and it's all included for the same price of uploading the single. We just charge our subscription price. So for many years, there was artists that weren't receiving any of their mechanicals. So there's been a 10-year period of every time a record was sold, the monies weren't dispersed correctly. I think too that goes to the topic of free music. The reason why a lot of the sites promoted free music and they promoted this thing about this is a way for you to get exposure, and they tagged on TV commercials to your music or your videos and stuff like that is because as of already 15 years right now, the copyright amendments have not been passed for the internet. So and that was due to lobbyists and people that are with special interest involved, and the reason for that too is because if they did get passed, then the artists would have to be get paid their royalties at a regular rate versus the rate that's being paid out right now. So there's a lot of stuff that hasn't happened, but it's a transitional period. We went from vinyl or from CDs, let's say, vinyls, and we went from a platform that was totally unknown to everybody. You got to thank Steve Jobs for creating the iPod and iTunes, because that's, in my opinion, should have been something that the labels should have worked on, and they didn't. But they're finally actually coming into play now where they're creating their own stores, but it took a long time. I mean, they were talking about 12-something years. So there's been a big gap in between where there was this nothingness happening. And a lot of people thinking outside the box, creating different products to help artists to promote and to try to sell their product. But in that 10-year period, there was a lot of product that was given away for free, a lot of promoting of free downloads. But that's actually turning around right now. That's changing.
Now, does this also affect the nature of songs? Because everybody used to craft their songs if they wanted to make money to the radio, and the radio wanted something that was 3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Right.
They didn't want anything too long. They wanted to be catchy. They wanted to capture a vast audience. But now people can aim at smaller markets. They can do something a little offbeat and still find a market for it. And they don't have to work to a certain format if they're sending it out over the internet. Does that change the fundamental nature of songs?
I think so. I think that, I think that's a very good question. And it kind of goes in different directions, and I'll explain. If one thing that's happening now is that a lot of artists are not being produced; they're being self-produced. And I had a discussion with another radio jock from Los Angeles who expressed that sometimes they felt that they kind of maybe ruined their vibe, to change the format of a band and their way of thinking or their style of music. And that can be true. But I believe that there's a lot of artists also that need guidance, and a little bit of pushing in the right direction helps them a lot. So I think that you can't just go one way with it all. Some artists do have the ability to do things really good on their own, and some don't. But to place it and say that all artists are great by doing things on their own, and no matter what, just do it one way, I don't think that's business, and I don't think that really applies to everybody. It's a really great question, but it's a really difficult one to answer too, because I'm not talking here to alienate anybody. I just want to be straight about what I want to answer. But I think that it's like a question: is it the end of the major labels? And some people say yes, it is, and in my opinion, I wish it wasn't. I think that they have an important part to play in this industry too, as well as the independents. I don't think it's good that they go away. I think that you can never go back to things because that's evolution, right? But I think that the evolution in music now has not really turned a positive leaf. So it's like, or page, because we're making it was a multi-billion-dollar business before, and now it's not. So all these ideas of how things work now have not really amounted to the most important thing, which is making money. If something's really so great, then it should have an impact on the economy. So you have to be, artists have to be a little bit, kind of like put the ego in the back pocket, you know, and be a little bit more open-minded and think more business savvy, because it's great to have all these things and, you know, push things on people for free, but if it's not going to help them make any income, it does, at the end of the day, it doesn't have a positive result. And there's a saying about reciprocity where when you give away, there's a psychological study years ago, and I use this when I talk about these type of things because, and it's about to reciprocate. When you give away gifts to your family or to your friends or loved ones, they're always accepted, you know, in a positive way. But when you give away gifts to people that are unknown to you, which is give away free music, not everybody takes it in a positive side. Actually, 90% of the time it bothers them. And this is proven, you know, you can go online and Google this information. So I feel that that's the reason why, a very important reason why music has gone south versus then go in a positive direction. I think that you send, let's say for example, you send somebody who's a country music fanatic, and you send them a hip hop song. Well, he's not going to like it. Or if you send a hip hop guy, you know, a country song, and he really doesn't like country music, then he's not going to like it. So giving away free music doesn't always work.
John, in the last 30 seconds of the show, what do you want us to know?
Well, please visit bornamusician.com. I have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/bornamusician. And we also have a social page for artists which is social.bornamusician.com. And that social page is free for artists so that they can get up there and sign up and mingle and talk to each other, and perhaps one day they can meet and form a band.
Our guest today has been John Seda, and if you record it, he can sell it. John, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you so much, and stay warm.
All right, we'll come down to Tampa and join you.
Yeah, come by the studio, okay?
Right on.
Take care.
I'm Bill Paul. This is Straight Talk, and we'll come back with another warm topic next week. Bye for now.